So during the Game Awards 2024, a brand new Sonic racing game called Sonic Racing Crossworlds was teased. It wouldn't be until the February 2025 State of Play that we would see the full look at the game and get the announcement of a closed network test for players on the PlayStation 5. It seemed weird to release another relatively normal Sonic racing game after the failure that was Team Sonic Racing, but turns out Team Sonic Racing was anything but a failure. Yes, whilst Team Sonic Racing was received with about as much excitement as a wet towel, the game actually sold extremely well, especially after the release of the Sonic the Hedgehog film. So with Sonic's newfound popularity and newfound budget, Sega seemingly saw fit to greenlight a brand new Sonic racing game. And this time actually make it good. This game's marketing cycle was wild, not only bringing back the Extreme Gear and Sega characters to the Sonic racing franchise, but also bringing in other licensed characters from other series. Minecraft, SpongeBob, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Pac-Man, etc, etc. And the closed network test and open network test proved that this game had something special to it. Sonic Racing Crossworlds will release on all modern platforms on September 22nd, 2025 for those who pre-ordered the Digital Deluxe, and September 25th, 2025 for everybody else. First thing to go over is there is no story mode. There is a tie-in comic for the game stating that the Donpa is trying to test his new travel rings technology, and of course invites Sonic's friends to test said technology in the Crossworlds Grand Prix. Along with that, the game has these rival interactions for every character in the game. Short little clips that give cute interactions, but not much more. Whilst I do wish the game had a bit of a story, as I did quite enjoy the stories from the Sonic Riders games, at the end of the day, as long as it's not absolutely forgettable like Team Sonic Racing, I guess the omission isn't the worst thing ever. So moving on to gameplay, how does it control? Like almost every single one of these games. Well, kinda. Well, Sonic Racing Crossworlds has the usual hallmarks of a racing game, accelerating, drifting, turning, etc, etc. But in terms of feeling, it feels different. Sonic Racing Crossworlds isn't built off the back of the Sumo Digital Sonic Racing games, as instead built off arcade racing games, with the main developers of this game being Sonic Team and the Initial D Racing Team, meaning vehicles feel heavy. Making simple drifts isn't enough to make sharp turns. Sometimes you're gonna have to let up on that acceleration or brake just to make a turn, especially at higher speeds. Initially when I played the network test, it felt like the drift just didn't work, but doing this makes it feel like making simple turns has depth to them. The game also sees the return of transforming vehicles from Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. These sections also don't control like their Sumo Digital predecessors, and also have a more weighted feel to them. You can't turn in water at all but in holding the accelerator, and the air really requires you to turn as little as possible to make any sort of movement. It's still fun, but they do take a genuine while to get used to. I don't think I got used to the flight until I went for all the S ranks in the time trials. So the game controls well. What about track design? I'd say that every main track in the game plays pretty well. Whilst I wouldn't say too many of them stand out like crazy, I do think a lot of them do their jobs pretty well, especially the best of the best. E-Stadium is a great tutorial stage, Wonder Museum is just like a super fun track, Pumpkin Mansion's path switching gimmick is really fun, riding support beams on Radical Highway blew me away on my first playthrough as I fell off. And overall, the game has really good tracks. Even if a track in this game doesn't do a whole lot to blow me away, I feel they're all still well designed. Plus, it's the other track's job to blow you away. During the end of a first lap of a race is when the game's main gimmick comes into play, that being Crossworlds, where the player in first place will pick either a Crossworld or a randomly selected track from every track in the game, Crossworld or not. These tracks are typically shorter and are also relatively fun. Some tracks prioritizing flying or racing on water, and overall they do a great job spicing up an average race and just being fun tracks. I don't play a lot of racing games, so I can't really go into depth on what makes them so fun, but sharp turns, cool shortcuts, and overall great visuals do enough to make me enjoy every track in this game. Even you, Blizzard Valley. This game also consists of a heavy emphasis on customization to suit how you play. Firstly, starting with different machine and character types in order to best suit whatever playstyle you like. Speed machines of course have the highest top speeds, acceleration types will reach their top speed the quickest, power types recover from damage the quickest, handling types have the best handling, and the boost types charge the drift boost quicker than everybody else. Overall, I think all the characters selected in the base game are quite adequate. Even I find it weird that none of the Babylon rogues were boost type, but I digress. Good picks. The vehicles are nice too. I do think some are honest to god downgrades compared to their Team Sonic Racing counterparts though, Poor Amy. There's also the items, and these have their issues. Whilst it's normal to have an experience in every kart racer where it feels like you're getting bombarded with items once in a while, Sonic Racing Crossworlds feels like you're racing whilst avoiding being bombarded with items every second. Too many of these items in these games either overlap or feel way too overpowered in their stats. In fact, let's go over every item I have an issue with and see how I change them. Laser and Drill. Both overlap as catch-up items and being bullet bill equivalents, one just dealing damage to players ahead of it. Pick one, ditch the other. Warp Ring. Once again, another catch-up item, but since it's straight up banned online, it seems kinda pointless. Monster Truck. Another catch-up item. I'd say it can't be removed now considering how heavily a part of the game's identity it is, but does it have to be so slow for a monster truck? Homing Punch and Rocket Punch. These items make sense, but the fact that the Rocket Punch can lock on is absurd. So is taking away 50 rings. Bring it down to 10 rings. Slicer. Why do we need another lock-on attack item? Slime. The fact that this item obscures your vision, slows you down, and takes your items is way too many effects at once. Just obscure your vision and go. Wait, why do we need another first player target attack? We already have King Boom Boom. Tornado. Again, way too many offensive items. But hopefully a way to balance out the imbalanced items are gadgets. These are little perks that take up 1, 2, or 3 slots that you can place on a 6-slot plate. These coming in 12 different types. Firstly, ring gain gadgets. These gadgets of course help you gain rings, doing things like air tricks, hitting dash panels or dash gates, riding in a slipstream, will gain you rings. Next up was ring ability gadgets. These help you use your rings to do special things, whether it's giving you a boost, increasing your cap from 100 to 130 or 200, or stealing rings from players when you bump into them. Technique upgrade gadgets will give you the ability to somewhat adjust how you perform, allowing you to use extended slipstreams, perform faster air tricks, or gaining a boost when you collide with another player. Charge upgrade gadgets will affect how your boost charge feels, whether it's filling a specific level faster or filling all drift levels faster, but with the handicap of something like worse control. Stat upgrade gadgets are quite self-explanatory. They do specific things to stats, either giving stat upgrades to specific types or giving a certain number plus to stats during certain parts of races. Support gadgets give players some leeway, like giving you a boost after a fall, preventing rings from being lost when touching walls, or allowing you to recover from hits quicker. Item control gadgets will help you control what items you get, or how you get them, or how you use them. Whether it's swapping items, giving you a higher chance to get more defense items, or gaining another item slot. Upgrade/add item gadgets will let you change how certain items will behave, like making spike balls or rocket punches larger, or giving you a boost whisk or monster truck at the start of the race. Standard kit gadgets will pair together gadgets to give you an edge in certain things like items or drifting. Machine type kits also pair together other gadgets to help with specific machine types, along with giving a stat boost to the specific type. Character type kits also do the same thing, combining specific types of gadgets and giving stat boosts. And lastly, there's advanced kit gadgets, also combining multiple gadgets to improve things like using attack items, getting wisp items, or better performance in transformation areas. There's also plenty of modes in Sonic Racing Crossworlds to enjoy. Of course, you have your standard Grand Prix, where you play through a set of tracks in a cup. One unique thing Crossworlds does though, instead of having a 4-track in every cup, is instead you play through the previous tracks back to back for the 4th and final race. From a concept standpoint, I can see what they were going for, especially with the Crossworlds gimmicks allows, but it does feel like they just couldn't think of anything for a final track. There's also the Rivals. This is where the game gives you an AI opponent that kind of targets and comments on you as the race goes on. And let me tell you, these motherfuckers do not back down. On higher levels, they can really give you one hell of a time, and it's a really nice challenge. And for being all 23 rivals, you unlock Super Sonic, who's only playable in Grand Prix mode, but is invincible to literally all damage in game. Overall, it's a fun enough Grand Prix mode. The rivals add a lot of charm to the mode, and Super Sonic as a reward is really cool, even if he is limited to the Grand Prix. There's also Race Park, essentially the multiplayer mode for Sonic Racing Crossworlds, where you can do single matches, custom matches, and specific team-based game modes with unique gimmicks that give you a bonus of 10 points if you have the most of the objective. Triple Team Ring Grab is when 3 teams set out to grab as many rings as possible. Triple Team Tap Boost is when 3 teams tap into each other and their teammates in order to get a speed boost. Double team shootout is where two teams try to shoot each other with items as much as possible. Double team dash panel is where two teams try to hit dash panels as much as possible. Quick match is kind of self-explanatory. And extreme match is where heavy hitter items only appear. And custom match is where you pick the rules and play from there. All these modes minus custom match also have AI rival teams, where you now have 3 rivals that, like their Grand Prix counterparts, don't play around. And for beating these teams twice, you unlock more vehicles to use, with the final vehicle being the Super Shining, which essentially is the supersonic car. It doesn't have any special properties. In fact, I think it has slower speed than the regular Speedster Lightning, but it's still pretty cool. Overall, I don't really care for the race park mode. It's fine, but I don't really care about these gimmicky playstyles or team racing when the main game is right there. And lastly, for offline modes is time trials. It's pretty self-explanatory, racing in all tracks to get your personal best times without even being ranks. But holy shit. I don't know what hit Sonic Team between Shadow Generations and this game, but the S ranks are finally hard again, and I mean extremely hard. Thankfully, since I'm a lifeless psycho, I was able to get all 78 S ranks on the game's tracks. But if you're a lame-o and just get all the A ranks, you unlock cool songs from previous Sonic games that you can add to your jukebox. Mind you, you can't pick specific songs to play in the jukebox, you have to shuffle through them in-game, in an album. But they're there. The challenge is more than welcome though. Getting these S ranks was not only a lot of fun, but also did help me learn these tracks better, even if I still suck at the game. Now on to online modes. Firstly, there's World Match, your typical ranked 12 player race where ranks go from E to Legend 1. Not much to be said here, just your bog standard 12 player race in this game. I will say that in any and all online modes, I don't feel more aggressive. The average Crossworlds player is definitely not holding on to most attack items, and a lot of times feel like you're really getting fucked over by just a bunch of item spam. It's still quite fun to play though, and if you're skilled enough you can sometimes negate the overpowered items. Then there's the Festival mode. In this mode you have roughly a weekend to team up with other players in races that have rule changes every 30 minutes, and gain enough points to complete a festival, in which you unlock items based on guest characters. These typically happen when a new guest character is added to the game, so at least once a month. These are fine. Quite frankly, I don't know why Sonic racing games recently insist on having team gameplay, especially when I don't think racing is probably the most team-centric sport, but it's not entirely bad. Whilst I haven't had the experience of teaming up with 3 extra friends to do these, I'm sure it's more fun like that. One of the biggest issues I had with this mode though was that Festival would remove World Match, but thankfully in a recent patch this has been fixed. Then there's Friend Match. This is basically online race park where you can also have custom lobbies of up to 12 players. Like I said, I don't really have a lot of friends to join me in playing this game, but sometimes just 1v1s against me and my boyfriends and the CPUs can be quite fun. Lastly, there's Legend Competition. This mode has made me unreasonably angry. In this mode, it is essentially World Match, but for players in Legend 9 or above, in which everyone competes to be the quote-unquote best player, with there being 5 ranks to earn: Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, and Emerald. I have never gotten to Emerald. I'm sorry, I have a job and other things to do. Overall, it's not really a crazy mode, but it's just a frustrating experience. You lose way more points than you gain no matter what, and eventually it gets to a point where if you're not in the top 3, you're getting nothing. Sucks, but I guess it is a ranked mode. Now we're on to extra modes. Firstly, the Garage. In this mode, you can customize to make your perfect vehicle, and it's okay. Whilst the system has expanded from Team Sonic Racing, in some ways I feel like it's a downgrade. The first positive is that you can combine the front and back and tires as long as they're part of the same machine type. Whilst this is a positive and does expand customization, I also think some of the machine parts just suck. A lot of the non-character specific cars look kinda lame, or better with their respective fronts and backs. You can definitely make some cool stuff though. Look at my Sonic and Kuromi cars, they look so cool. Another upgrade is that any car can now be any color. Sure, you can use machine presets, but you can still edit them to be whatever color you'd like, which is a really nice touch. One of the biggest problems with this game's customization is the decals. The biggest problem I have with them overall is the placement of them, being unable to mirror them to other decals so everything's perfectly aligned, mirror certain stickers at all, being unable to put stickers on the middle of the car, but also being unable to stack them. Sure, I understand things can get pretty toxic in an online game if people can stack stickers and make whatever. But if a game like Kirby Air Riders can moderate that, I feel like Sonic Racing Crossworlds can do the same, because being unable to do that really limits what you can do in my opinion. There's already penises in the game anyway. There's also these horns and auras, cool but super expensive cosmetics, which leads to my next point. There's these tickets, which are hell. Sonic Racing Crossworlds items are bought with the in-game currency of tickets. Well, thankfully these aren't in-app purchasable items, but holy shit. The game doesn't give you a small amount per se, but so many items and things in the game cost so much to get. For example, the friendship system. In this game, all 23 base characters in the game can be leveled up via this friendship system, giving out things like decals, titles, and the AI racer skins. But to max out each character's friendship level costs 50,000 Donpot tickets, and 50,000 times 23 is 1,150,000 tickets. Yes, I understand this is a game they want to be played for a long time, but this just feels like overkill, or also reeks of, we want to do in-app purchases, but people are not gonna like in-app purchases. Currently, the best method is beating rival teams in Race Park at supersonic speed at max level, and they recently did increase the amount of tickets you get from the online world match, but it is still quite the grind. Moving on to presentation though, I'm gonna start with how the game looks. This is the first Sonic game to be visually done in Unreal Engine 5, a departure from the usual Hedgehog engine or Hedgehog Engine 2, and I think it helps the game a ton. Once I've heard people's complaints from saying the game looks colorless, I don't know, I've only really played it on a 4K HDR TV and it looks good to me, so visually the game does look quite stunning, and I really do like the way it looks. Quite frankly, I think it's the most visual impressive Sonic game, period. As for music though, on one hand I do enjoy a lot of the remix tracks for this game. I honestly think all the remixes are really good, some of my favorites being Apotos, Sweet Mountain, Metal Harbor, Kronos Island, and Market Street are all good. But some of the original tracks in my opinion leave a lot to be desired. There are some good ones like E Stadium, Aqua Road, Wonder Museum, Pumpkin Mansion, Crystal Mine, and Blizzard Valley, but tracks like Water Palace, Colorful Mall, Urban Canyon, Coral Town, and Chow Park all feel mediocre. Not bad, but very, very far from special. Then there's things like the game's animations, which are alright. The rival animations look kinda stiff and uncanny. Honestly, they look very, very, very weird, especially compared to coming off a game like Shadow Generations where the animation was clearly a priority. But the in-game animations look fine. You can tell the rival things were just there to add some life and character, so I'm not complaining too much. But as for the voices of the characters, they're fine. I'm not really somebody who's against the current 2010 Sonic the Hedgehog cast, so I have no issues with anybody here, besides of course the usual suspects like Rouge. Not a fan of her new voice actress at all. Jet the Hawk also is really actually starting to warm up on me. I don't remember his voice actor's name, but whoever's doing the voice since Free Riders, and Crossworlds sounds a lot better. I don't know what happened between Free Riders and Crossworlds, but he just sounds like less like a little kid. Other than that, the whole cast does a solid job. And that's it. That's Sonic Racing Crossworlds. A really, really fun Sonic racing game. Is this my favorite Sonic racing game in the franchise? Probably, yeah. This is the one I put the most time and effort and hours into. It's just really fun to play and really addictive. I think Sega's doing a great thing by adding extra content, and I will be going over that in a completely separate video. We'll be going over the first DLC content in a different video, so stay tuned for that. But overall, I had a lot of fun with Crossworlds. Sure, it can get me frustrated with things like its annoying items or how Legend competition doesn't give you a lot of points at all. But overall, I still enjoy my time with the game. It feels fun, the tracks are fun, it's a great time. So thank you for watching this video. I'll be back soon. Talk to you later.